Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I feel like I'm running around here in a hot mess today, but we are gonna have fun. So we'll just make sure we can get some comments. I did have some music on here and then it stopped, so we'll see if something else. Hey Jennifer, hi Ellie. Looks like my TV internet is not working, but that's okay. Hey Tamara, can't wait to be done and relax. Yeah. Hey Sandy. That is very strange. There may be some music that comes on after. It's been that type of day, guys. Whew. Yeah, there's a bunch of new stuff. Sandy dropped me some distress inks off, and I thought, you know what? Let's just play with them. Hey Lorraine. So I have some reverse foiling to do. We're just gonna like jump in. And I pulled out a bunch of deco foils to try with this foiling. And I apologize because I hope that they're in the shop. There's a possibility that they're not because I did not have time to check. But if there's something that you see that's not in there, just shoot Sandy an email, and if it's something she can get in, then she'll try her best. So this is the card that we're gonna make today. And it is sparkly and fun, and it is a birthday for sure. So this is the new Spellbinders glitter. It's called Sparkle Dust, and it's gorgeous. So it looks white. I think this is going to be really nice as well for Christmas. I think that having a nice glitter for Christmas is great, but I wanted to show you how nicely it could be to just, really fancy something up. So I added it with some sticky specks, and I was kind of playing around seeing how I could adhere it in different ways. So I was gonna, this is on black cardstock, by the way, so it looks really nice. So we've got this on the sticky specks, and you can tell a little bit more here. You get almost like this really, like that kind of Christmas look where it's the vintage glitter, because the sticky specks are little tiny spots of glue, so it's sticking to each little spot. Hi Tammy. So that is with the sticky specks. Then we've got adhesive sheets, and I played with these on Tuesday on the Creative Scrapbooker Live, and I really like them. So if I had the die, I borrowed this die from Rosie, so I didn't have the die with me, I just had the die cut, so that's why I went with the sticky specks. If I had the die, and I'll show you how these go on, you get more of a flat application of the glitter because it's sticking to a full sheet of adhesive. And then I actually used the Nuvo pen, and I know we have the thin tip in right now and the large is sold out, but if it's something you're looking for, let Sandy know, or you can put in to be notified if you would like to get it when they're back in stock. So all I did was cover the background of the black circle, and it really went on nicely. So I was really happy with that application. So I think grabbing glitter and playing with different ways to apply it, and understanding that different adhesives are going to give you different results, kind of gives you a better idea of how you want to use it. So that's the card we're going to make today. So we'll set that aside for a second. That's a look at that Sparkle Dust glitter, and we'll look at it on some white cardstock as well. So we've got the new Distress Oxides. I've got the Oxide Spray, or the Distress Ink rather. This is Prize Ribbon. It's a beautiful blue. This is the newest color that was just released. This is the Glaze. So this is a transparent blue embossing powder. And it's really gorgeous. You can mix this with other colors. You can layer it. And you're going to get that translucent effect. So I'm going to make sure I have it on, because you know what happens otherwise. Then we've got Distress Ink and Distress Oxide, and we'll have a look at that and just see how that, kind of a quick overview of what that is going to look like. And I love the little pins. So the pins are in right now. And I really like collecting them, and I'm going to make myself a little holder for them, and then I will show you guys. This is new in the shop, and it's the Paper Rose Pansy Garden. Beautiful, beautiful colors and designs. So you've got, I think we can just sneak a peek at this. You've got the pansies. And you've got butterflies, and Paper Rose always has gorgeous papers. You've got the cut aparts, which are really pretty, and then they're double-sided. That's beautiful. And this is another little cut apart, and then a really pretty, almost kind of a vintage looking design on the back there. Pay attention to how I'm laying those down. These ones are great because you can cut them all apart. Pansies are beautiful. Hey, Ellie? So nice. You've got the birdhouses and the watering cans and even the little teacup, which is so pretty. I think layering on flowers, they're really nice. Oh, that background is really pretty. So the white with the yellow and kind of really a distressed look. Very pretty. Then you've got this brick background. These would make gorgeous, just card fronts if you wanted to use them for card front. And then you've got the butterflies on the back in the matching colors. Then we have the pansy that you can cut. Those are gorgeous, and you could layer those for embellishments, and a watercolor background. And then the wood grain background with the flowers. Like if you cut that and then put a little sentiment on the front and some of those flowers cut out, I think that would be gorgeous. And there's the pansies in the background, and then you've got another full set of all of those. So there's 18, there's actually 3 of each design. So that's a lot of, you have 3 of each. You don't have to worry about using them and using up your favorite. You're gonna have 3 of each of them. And then the Tim Holtz stencil. Some of this is stuff that I had ordered from Sandy, and some that she was gonna get me to show. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to show them all. There's 3 new stencils, I believe, that just came out with Tim Holtz's line. I really liked this kind of rainbow look, and I thought these would be really nice used as kind of like a stitching line or something on the edge of your cards or your pages. Then there's 2 sprinklets that I have here. There's also 2 more that are new, and you can find all the new stuff in the July 1st section on the website. This is the brown and yellow flower, yes. So it's called Mirasol Tamara. And then these are Tamara's, but I snuck them away from her to show. And this is called Ribbit, and it has these adorable little frogs. Like, can you see those little faces? And then you've got the green flowers and little pink in there. It's really cute. And then these almost look like little sunflowers to me, and you have the brown in there as well. So those are great for embellishing. There's also little watermelons, and then there's one other one that I just can't remember what it is. Then these are label stickers that are new from Tim Holtz, and these are really good for just sticking on, you know, if you want an added sentiment, or you have a scrapbook page or traveler's notebook, and they actually look and feel like the real labels. So they've got that kind of plasticky feel with the texture on them. Really love these. I can't wait to use these. Then we have the Sandy Paws. This is some of the collection. I believe there are 3 or 4 stamp sets. This is 2 of them. And this one here that has the adorable little characters in the boat. And then you've even got some sentiments there. These guys are in a little sailboat and the crab. And I like that they give you, it's a clear stamp, but they give you an idea of how you could color it if you wanted to. Of course, you can do whatever you want to color. And then this one here. So this one is called Bon Voyage. Yes, Tamara got a new puppy, and this collection came out at the perfect time. This one is called Ice Cream, and you've got the little dog with the sand castle and the ice cream. And I love this little kind of beach house type thing. What do you think? That's a beach house or bunkhouse? And then the ice cream truck, and then this little windmill and a bucket. And I'm actually going to be making some stuff with this over the next month, so I'll be sure to post that. But there's, I believe, 2 more that are in the store for that collection. There's also these enamel rings. So you can use these just like you would sequins or the sprinklets or enamel dots, and just place them in places around your page. You could also make some tags and have them as a embellishment where you put the twine through. I think that would be really cute. And it's all in the coordinating colors. They're kind of like a glossy, clear material. Hi Betty, hi Debbie. And then this is the paper. This is the 6x6 paper pad. There are 40 double-sided sheets in here. And you've got all these elements that you can go ahead and cut apart. Then I really love that they always have these cut aparts here. So you can add them to cards, you could add them to your pages. Really, they're such cute little embellishments, hey? This is by Craft Consortium, and they have the most darling papers. Then you've got the banners on the back, and so you've got 4 of each, so I guess you've got 10 different double-sided papers, and there's 4 of each. This is a little scene that you can cut apart. I love these little things. It is, hey Betty? And then on the back of that one, you've got 2 more scenes that you can cut apart. I like how they've made this one bigger. Then you've got this glossy coating on this one, if you can kind of see, and it gives it a really nice effect with those little houses. And then on the back, the same little houses, but with a blue background. And then this one is little sailboats, and it's almost like a little quilted look. That would even be cute for like a little baby card, I think. And then on the back, you can see so that's a lighter blue, and then you've got the teal blue. And then this is some more banners with the blue background. And then on the back of it, you've got banners with the yellow. Then we've got the little crabs and the sandcastle. And again, the little crabs are, you can see they're almost like a shiny effect. And on the back of the crabs, you've got the little sand castles. Then the little puppy paws. Tamara, you might have to have that. Thanks, Sandy just linked the Sandy Paws collection. And on the back of the paws, you've got the different color squares. I like that you can use this for a lot of different, you know, whether you're scrapbooking or card making. You could do it for pets, or you could do it like for babies or summer. So definitely lots of possibilities. These have lots of sentiments that you could cut apart or use as a background. And then on the back you have the same but in a white. Then you've got the wood grain and a green wood grain. Those are always great for kind of a neutral tone. And the green dot is the last one, and then you have a red dot. So lots of really nice colors, and then lots of these cute cut aparts. It is really cute. So I'm looking forward to working with that. Okay, before we get our card out here, I just wanted to really quickly give you a look at this Distress Oxide. So I grabbed my box of my spray box, and I'm actually going to just stick an apron on because I have a white shirt and I'm not, you know, convinced that I will keep it white if I don't put an apron on. So I'm gonna just shake this. This is one that I quickly did. I haven't even dried it. I used the new prize ribbon, and I think part of the fun of using a new ink, one of the distress inks, is combining it and seeing what you like it combined with. And I just quickly grabbed this. So this is the Kitsch Flamingo, and then this is the Salvage Patina. So all I did, this is the Vicki Boutin, the thick paper, and it is so wonderful. The foundations paper, wonderful to work with. So all I did was spray a little bit on. Let's actually, before we do that, let's do one with just the oxide spray. You can also get the ink spray in the store. I just happen to have the oxide, but both are beautiful, and this just came in. So that is the oxide spray, and after I spray, I usually just take a wipe and I just give the end a little tiny bit of a wipe. Oh yes, the Vicki Boutin paper, don't forget about that. It's fabulous. And then you can use it as is, and it's this beautiful blue, or you can play with that effect where it oxidizes as soon as it gets water on it, and you can give it a spray. So the foundations paper is really nice and thick. I think it's about 140 pounds, and it takes any kind of wet medium really nicely. So I would probably just set that aside, let it dry, and you know, use that for a background after. But we could also, but wait, there's more. We could also go in with our spray. And just want to make sure I get that wiped off so I don't have a huge area mess. Then we've got the Kitsch Flamingo. I think this is going to look nice paired with a lot of different colors. Sandy's got lots of the foundation paper in stock. Sometimes it sells out so quickly that it's hard to get in. Hey Virginia, I'm going to add a little bit more of this flamingo. So I love using it for backgrounds for my scrapbook pages, but I also love cutting it up and using it on cards or anything you're going to watercolor. I think it works really well. So you can kind of see when the blue and the pink make kind of a purple, and then you've got that patina in there. So anything that's those colors are really going to look beautiful. But you know, if you put yellow on it, you're going to get a really pretty green. Any other blue as well, you're going to get some really cool effects. So if you just I'm not going to dry that right now. I'm just going to kind of let it dry, but you can see how many different ways you can actually really have fun with that. And then this is those colors that have kind of dried and you're left with those soft looks. Now with the oxides, you have the ability to come in over top. So once something's dried, you can then go in, and I also like doing some splatters, and those splatters, or if you sprayed again, that's going to stay on top, and you have the ability to really layer things. So lots of fun. And I feel like I'm doing some kind of science experiment. So really cool. We'll set that aside, and if I remember, I'll show you at the end. Okay, let's look at the glaze. So I just grabbed a snowflake stamp from my stash, and I'm just going to turn down that music. There we go. The glazes are really nice, and they are really fine glaze, so you can use sentiments or fine detailed stamps, and they're really going to do a nice job. You can also, I'm using Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink. You can also use a colored ink if it's a pigment ink, and the color underneath is going to change your glaze color, of course, or if you're stamping on like a manila cardstock, it's going to change it a little bit from a white. So we're just going to sprinkle this on, and you can see how pretty that is. I think this is going to be a really nice one for Christmas as well. Blues, I feel like you can use really all year round, and there's lots of options. Okay, we will just dry this or heat this. And it really melts so nicely. It melts pretty quick. So that's a look. Think of how pretty those snowflakes. Then, because this is that Vicki Boutin Foundations paper, we can go ahead and add. We could add sprays to it or ink over it, and maybe we'll move these. And that is going to resist. So the embossing is going to create a resist, whether you're sponging on your ink or you're spraying something on. And then that's just going to dry and give us a really pretty effect. You can even take another piece. It's kind of just this rabbit hole that you could go down. And look, even that's pretty. That's the Selvage Patina. So on top of that prize ribbon glaze, so pretty. Okay, then we'll move that out of the way. Then we have the ink, and I have a whole pack of sponge daubers that I could not find, of course, before the live. So I grabbed the, this is the Create by Tailored Expressions. Actually, I saw that there's some mini little blending brushes in the shop, and they look like they would be fabulous. So this is that Tim Holtz Rainbow, and we'll just give a quick look at how that would look through the stencil. I really like these kind of rustically drawn, rough drawn images. Isn't that pretty? You could do so much, especially if you did have the really small blending brushes. You could go in and do each color, or you can take something to mask off, and then you're not going to get parts on your background that you don't want. So this is just kind of a quick blend, and I think what I will do is do some nice blends up with some different colors and then post those. So that's the Distress ink, and then of course, because I can't help myself, I'm going to add a little bit of water. And you can see it kind of reacting. And if I grab my piece of paper towel, we can dab it for some white effects, or we can just let it dry and it'll have these water droplet looks. So really pretty. That's the ink. And then the oxide, I just grabbed the Studio Katia brush. That is fantastic as well. And the oxide gives you more of like a chalky kind of look because it has the pigment and the ink in the formulation. So we'll go over that. And you get just, I really like Distress oxides for stamping as well. I find that they stamp really nicely. And I think too, using a blending brush for these little areas, because there's some smaller areas, really gives you some nice definition. And then you can sponge that on. So you can see this has more, I don't know how much you can see in the camera, but it has more of that chalkier finish. And then when we add the water to it, it reacts a little bit differently. So I think really it's up to you, kind of what you like. There's also the re-inkers are in the shop. I believe the full, you can get the full set still as a bundle. I'm not exactly sure if that's still in there. But everything definitely separately is. And the paint as well. So you can see once you start spraying that on, you get that oxide effect. And you can leave that, you can dab it as well. Isn't that cool? That looks almost like you know, those jeans and the t-shirts. What am I trying to say? In the 80s. What were those called? Anyway, love this color. I love the bright blue. I think it's going to be really, really great one to use. You still have the bundles? Okay, tie-dye, yeah. Or bleach. I'm thinking of like a bleached look too. But yeah, tie-dye or bleach. So the bundles are still in the shop if you want a little bit of a discount and you feel like you want everything because they're so fabulous, then check that out. Okay. All right, now that I have blue all over my hands, I'm actually going to get a wipe. And give them a wipe off. Okay, so I recently picked up these toner sheets, and I thought, you know what, these would be great for those leftover pieces of foil. So we've done foiling before with, so this is the toner sheets. This is the 3-pack of 8.5 by 11, so it's a full like letter size. You always want it all, I know, don't we all? Yes, so if you don't want it all, you can buy them individually and choose what you want. So there's also some adhesive ones that I saw were sold out, but these ones are a pack of 3, and it's just like a full sheet that's like a sheet of paper, and it's a full sheet of toner. So you can die cut these, and these work with a laminator. So you can die cut them, you can do whatever you want. So what I thought was that I would take some of these leftover foil pieces, and I've kept them because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them, but I thought, you know, they would be kind of fun to just play with. And once I've been playing with the toner sheets, I think it's a total rabbit hole that you could go down in and just have so much fun making backgrounds. So the ones that I have here, and like I said, I apologize if something sold out. So this is the Slimline Toner Card front, and there are tons more of them than I even have. So have a look when you're looking in the shop for the toner card front. And they come in slimline size, they come in the craft, and they are in the clear. So this one is the lots of dots. There's also the white background, that's just the card front. This is the clear, that's Time to Fly. This was a special release. So we had made a card live, I believe, with using the butterflies, and that was left over from that. Then I've also got the Dainty Hearts here. That's another clear one, and it has the tiny hearts. And oh yeah, so here's one of the white, and this is the Chic Chevrons. So that's what I have here, but there's lots of different ones in the store, and if you feel like one or another fit your style better. So what I started out with was I had foiled these, and I think we did these live at one point. So I just had these foiled and was kind of playing around with them, and we made some cards. Here's the little hearts. Here's those the clear acetate, which are so, so pretty. But then you're left with all of these extras. And even if you're using your stencils and you use the Deco Foil gel, you're still left with your background. So don't throw those out, because what we can do, see, here's a background. I think that's the peach one. What we can do is take any of these. You can see I used the dots, and we can now create our own backgrounds. So this one was actually the negative from laying something on top of a negative. So it's just like I said, you could keep going seriously. Let's do let's do the butterflies. Actually, it might not cover the whole. We'll do the butterflies as a sample, and we'll do the pink for our card. Okay, so we're going to turn on our little mini ink machine, and this really heats up quickly. If you have a plain laminator, that's going to work as well. And we've got our toner sheets, and now I just need to find where I put. I have a very small area, and it seems as if I've already lost something, so here we go. I've got this little plastic sheet, and I think there's actually some of these, Sandy, that she had in the shop, and then this is just parchment paper. If you don't have the plastic cover, then you can just use parchment paper, or you can use printer paper and put it through like that. But you do want to have something to put it through your laminator. So we're going to turn it on, and then I usually press it to 3, and it's not going to take very long to heat up, and then it's going to tell us with a green light and a little buzz that it's ready. And I'm going to have a drink of water. Okay. So this is what we're left over with from our project we've already done. So let's do a butterfly sample first. Have you guys played with these toner fronts at all? I'm actually just going to cut off this extra, just because we don't need a whole bunch extra toner. But if you had a die cut, like a die cut sentiment, you could die cut it out, put it through with some foil, and then you'd have a foiled sentiment. There's a lot that you could do. So that's hot already. The little green light is on. We're opening this up. So this is the plastic, and then I put a little piece of the parchment paper that comes with the toner sheets. And this color here is Enchanted Rose, and this is the deco foil. So we're gonna just close it up, and then we can feed it through. So that doesn't take very long. It's gonna feed right through. I'll leave my card here so I don't lose that. And I wasn't sure what we would end up with for the card, so I thought I'll wait to cut my background paper, but I used, for this little dot paper, I used the Watercolor Wishes from Lawn Fawn, and it has just some beautiful patterns in it. So you can see, like, there's the watercolor background, and then there's the dotted background. Thanks. So Sandy has linked all the deco foil products. And then this would also work, I think, nicely, depending on what color foil you were using. So that comes through, and then I don't know if you have to, but I always just turn it over, just for good measure. It's one of those things probably people are saying, like, why are you doing that? And then we're gonna add some of that beautiful glitter on the top. So that's just gonna slide right through. And I think my mind always goes to Christmas and, you know, what you could use for Christmas as well of your product. So that's why the sticky specks and the glitter, I think, are gonna be really great at Christmas. So that comes through. It is a little hot, so just be careful. Okay, we're gonna pull that out. And so remember, anything that has foil on it is going to stick to the toner sheet. So this is us pulling it back. And look how beautiful. So you went from having a black toner sheet to then having the butterfly negative printed on it. So remember, the clear toner sheet had the butterflies on it, and the foil only stuck to the butterflies. Whereas now we are using our leftover, and then we get that negative impression. However, we are definitely not going to stop there. So we are going to choose another color. What do you think, guys? What should we choose? So we've got lots of different foils, maybe like, I don't know, the purple. Purple might be too close of a color. I feel like maybe we need a contrasting color, and we could go with silver, or we could try this green. This one's emerald watercolor. There's lots of colors in the shop, so if there's something that's not there, one of these, just have a look for other colors that you like. So this one was actually something that I used one of the Wild Whisper papers for, because you can foil those. So we'll leave that for another time. That can be another experiment. And then we'll cut this. So I found actually using my trimmer cuts this very easily. But I'm just going to trim it with scissors. I'm just kind of holding it up. And it doesn't have to be exactly straight. Because I would take this card front and then I would actually, you know, do a die cut around it to get it nice and even. So these deco foils have 5 sheets and they're 6 by 12 and they last a long time, and especially if you can use the negative images. So we're going to take our watercolor, emerald watercolor, we're going to place that on, and look at this. So you want to always place it on with your colored side up, because that's what's going to be showing face up when you take the foil off. Otherwise it just doesn't stick. It's not, you'll just have to run it through again. And so you can see this piece here was actually going to be the piece that we're running through now. So this was actually on top of the negative that we used, if that makes sense. We ran it through with 2 different types of foil, one the negative and then another piece on top. So I think you could just sit here and like foil all your backgrounds and then gather a bunch of supplies. I grabbed, so the Happy Birthday to You is actually the Lawn Fawn, one of the new Lawn Fawn big die cuts. And there's I think it's just Happy Birthday, and then there's Happy Birthday to You. So they were both in the shop. And then I used the Tiny Friends stamp set to kind of put them on, but you could do it without any stamps. You could add just some flowers or whatever kind of embellishment that you wanted. But both of these were in the store, the Lawn Fawn. All right, so we're gonna take this off and do the reveal. And everywhere those black butterflies were, now we have green butterflies. So look how pretty. So it's basically your foil has stuck to anything that was black. And then you can go ahead, you can run this through on your toner sheet and do another one on top or whatever you wanted. You could have different colors of strips of foil. There's honestly like so many options. So that's going to be a beautiful background. So what we'll do is we'll make this card, we'll make it with the top layer. So as if we were using this layer of the foil, we're going to put that on our background, and this will be for our card. And we'll run that through. And then we can grab a color to go with. So maybe we'll grab the, you know what, let's try one of these rainbow ones. I think would be cool. This one is just called Rainbow. I think there's also like a summer rainbow. There's lots of different ones that have kind of that different colored look. But I think we'll try this one. and they're really thin, so make sure when you're checking them, you're really checking to make sure you have just one sheet. It's not going to damage it even if you ran it through the laminator. You just want to save it and use it as much as possible. Okay, and then we'll run this through upside down. So I'm just going to cut this to size so then we can finish our background. I think you could have lots of fun with those. And even these little strips that you're left over with, you can layer those on the toner sheets and run them through and get all those fun colors. So look how pretty that rainbow is. Okay, so here's our back. It's amazing, really, how well it transfers. I was really impressed. So isn't that pretty? It's so beautiful. So then we just take our rainbow, lay it over, and it took me a while to decide to get a laminator, but I'm really glad that I did now, because I really like this technique. I think I'll use this a lot, and also makes me feel like I'm using the foiled pieces that I have left over, so it makes me feel kind of thrifty, you know. All right, let's grab our card making supplies. So we've got our happy birthday die cuts. We've got these cute little guys. We'll see how we're running for time, if we have time to color them. And we're going to add our sticky specks on and add our glitter on. So the sticky specks come in, these are the 4A4 sheets. They are just a little, they're close to like an 8.5 by 11, a little bit longer and a little bit less wide. And you can use these over and over again. So it's basically an adhesive sheet. I'm just going to take this out first, and I'm going to turn this off and set it aside so it's out of the way. So basically you've got this adhesive sheet, and it has all these little glue dots on the yellow piece, and you're going to be able to glue down any kind of little die cut, or they're great for intricate things. It just grabs the individual little pieces of glue. And then I've got this one that's been used lots of times. Now, if you're doing something like you want glitter adhered to everything, then you're going to want to use a new sheet. However, you can see here where I laid that happy birthday down, and any place that's not white still has glue. So if we were gluing something down that didn't need glue in every tiny spot, once you lay it on here, it's going to pick up any of the glue. So you could stick it down a few spots and it's still going to grab any of the glue. So you can use that till it's completely gone. So let's reveal our dots. So here we go. Look how pretty. Now we've got rainbow in the back of our green, and now we have a sheet, another piece that we can run through those toner sheets. So I'm going to keep those in a spot, and then when I want something foiled, I can just grab a color that I want, and they'll be ready to go. So let's do our glitter. We've got our happy birthday die cut, And how you're going to use this is you're going to pull it back. And the yellow is all adhesive. So you're going to try not to get your fingers and stuff stuck in it. You're going to lay it down, and then you're going to use this cover sheet to almost burnish the glue. And you can see it's backwards because we want the glitter to stick on the top, right? So that's why. So we're just sticking that down and pressing it in. Then, because this is really nice and sticky, it's easier, especially if you have something that's a thinner die cut, it's going to be easier if you grab it with the tweezers. Thanks, Betty. So basically, you're just pulling this off the background. And you can use your fingers. It's not going to take the glue off. You're just trying to be careful to kind of remove it carefully so the glue stays on and your die cut doesn't rip. And this has lots of little open spaces, so that's why I'm just being careful to slowly pull it off. And if you use the tweezers, then you can just wipe your tweezers off, even though I am getting a little bit of glue on my fingers. And if you use a little bit of stamp cleaner, it takes the stickiness right off. So there's lots of ways that people have to put on glitter. And I think trying out your different adhesives gives you different effects, like I said, and you might find an effect that is like something that's your favorite. I also tried the liquid glue, and I didn't like how the liquid glue reacted. So just kind of bending back your sheet. There we go. And then it just sticks back on. Now let's see here, where's that wipe? I'm gonna wipe my fingers because I have glue pieces on them, and otherwise I'm gonna be stuck to everything. But as soon as we put our glitter on there, the glitter is going to be stuck to that. So give me a minute to just wipe all this off. And it's just glue that kind of rubs right off as soon as you rub your fingers together. Okay, so this is the Sparkle Dust glitter. I really loved how it looked on the black cardstock. So we're just sprinkling it on. I've just got a piece of computer paper here so that I can put the extra back in. And then all I'm doing is kind of burnishing that glitter into the glue, because I want to make sure it's stuck down and that all those little glue spots are covered. It's a really, really pretty glitter. Oop, we're gonna have to scoop that up after. Okay, we're just shaking it off so that we can get off any little bits of extra. And then you can see how pretty that is. You've got this really, that chunky kind of, I think it looks almost vintage. So we'll set that aside, and we're going to pick up this glitter. There we go, and we can just slide this back in. I'm not being super careful. But again, we can just take this off the glass mat, put it on, and just get as much as we can back in, and then what's left over, we can wipe away. Now, just before we actually adhere that, I kind of wanted to show you if you had the die cut and you wanted to use the adhesive sheets. So Sandy had just got these in their 10-pack of transparent adhesive sheets. And basically you've got a sheet of adhesive, you lift up one side. So I lifted up. Let's see here. You lift up the yellow side, you stick your paper on. Then if I was going to die cut, I would then take that, die cut my sentiment, or you can punch and the adhesive does not get stuck. Now if I did bring my punch, there it is, kind of show you. So you can run it through your die cut machine, you can punch it, and then basically you have a sticker. So then we just peel off that side of the sticker. And then, I don't know if you can see, there's some adhesive there. We'll dip that in. And again, you can just rub it with your finger to make sure everything is stuck down and it's not going to come off. And then you have this really pretty glittered look. So that is the adhesive sheet. And then if you wanted to use the sticky specs, just to give you an idea of the difference, stick that down, and I'll show you it on the black cardstock. And this too, kind of swatching them out according to adhesives is a good idea as well, because next time you go to use them, you can remember what you used and that effect. And this is more of like a chunky look with the sticky specs. And then for the other one, I actually use this Nuvo glue pen. And I flicked over the, so this just lays down a really nice thin coat of this liquid adhesive. And this actually held it really well. And you don't need to burnish this at this point because otherwise it'll rub off, because that's just liquid. So all three of them give a nice effect, but definitely different. So depending on what look you're going for. And these were the ones that I did with the black. So this was the glue pen on the black, then on the sticky specs, and on the adhesive sheet. So then afterwards I will label this, and it is, I guess, transparent slightly, just because you will see the color underneath, but it is going to change it and give it a really sparkly effect. So if you use colored cardstock, you're still going to get the color coming through, or you could ink underneath and then use it on top. I think this is going to be really nice as well for like snow on Christmas and winter cards. Okay, so let's get back to this. I'm just going to run this through our die cut machine. so it die cuts really nicely as well. A little piece of washi tape. I love these, the rainbow with the green. I think it turned out really nice. Silver would also look nice. Honestly, I don't think there's any color that would not go. So we've got our die cut background. Then we'll grab a color of paper that goes with it. So I kind of like those polka dots because it's mostly a white background, but you could really do anything. Maybe we'll go with the pink, kind of the pinkish orange polka dots. And we'll run that through. I have my trimmer, but I have my large trimmer, and so to bring it up onto the surface, it's easier for me just to cut. Okay, I'm going to place that on. So what's everybody up to this weekend? Do you have any plans? I think weather's supposed to be nice again. We've been so lucky. I'm actually going to be away for the next 2 weeks. So Rosie, the lovely Rosie, is going to be doing the live for us. I have no idea what she has planned, but I'm sure it's amazing. Okay, so we've got our card base. We're gonna glue on our background. And we are going to Saskatchewan for a few days, and we haven't seen my husband's mom in a long time, so we're really excited about getting to see her and going to the lake there where he grew up. So this is that toner sheet. It's just like a thin, kind of a very thicker than a paper, but a very thin cardstock, maybe between a cardstock and a paper. Just center that on. So the girls are really looking forward to that. I think we're all looking forward to it. Just kind of getting away for a few days. I've got the happy birthday cut out with white. And these things are really amazing. These are the 3D foam strips. And you get these little strips. You can also foil with the deco foil. You can use any of the adhesive foam tape, double-sided sticky tape, and the foil will adhere to it. So if you wanted to even go further and play around with that, you can. I really like these. I think they're good for if you're doing some shaker cards, and especially if you're adding some foam dimension and you just want to quickly not have to worry about cutting your foam tape. These are all cut for you. So I was quite impressed with how easy these were to use. And these are the scrapbook adhesives by 3L. The little foam, maybe we'll put one more piece there. It is nice to see people again. Definitely. And we had some people, some friends over for a little bonfire the other day. And we're still being careful, even though we are vaccinated, we're still being careful to be socially distant and conscious of, you know, what people are comfortable with and all that. But it sure was nice to interact with people. All right. If there was a fast way to pull off all this tape, but I knew if I did this beforehand, this would totally be stuck to something by the time we got to this step. We did a little live in the VIP group today, just sharing the full walkthrough of that album, the Sweet as Honey album, if anybody is still thinking about getting it. And you can still buy it even if you're not a member of the VIP group, just the class will be live in that group. So you can check that out if you haven't seen it. All right, I'm just gonna lay this down here, and then our pretty sparkly happy birthday. I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue on because I don't wanna make you watch me trying to peel this off again. It's funny, sometimes when you're just, you know, busy making your card and doing all the things and you really don't realize time flying by, and you know it's an hour later, and I don't mind doing any of those things, whether it's, you know, glittering or coloring, or it's just that step by step. There we go. So that's just a little bit offset. That's kind of a fun little tip if you want to add a little bit of an offset to your stamps. Yeah, I think you have to definitely be responsible and, you know, conscious of other people, how they're feeling about things as well. And then all we did was color these up. Now, I think that I won't make you actually watch me color these because it's after 4 already, but I'm going to color them and then I will post the finished picture on the Scrap Shotz Instagram. You'll see it there, and on the Facebook page. But basically I'm going to color it the same as we did here. So we've got the little guys cut out, and then it's just a really easy, quick little coloring because they're little tiny images and they color up so quickly. So I'm going to color them with some Copics, but if you are playing along or you have these supplies and want to color them, then color them with whatever you want. And then I just used a little bit of those foam strips and a couple of the clear Studio Katia, they're in the shop, the clear beads. So I think there's a size that there's one that has a few different sizes in it, and they're just, oops, I'm losing them. They're just little clear drops, and they look so nice on your background, especially if you have a lot going on, like this one with the glitter and the foil. Just adds a couple. So that is a look. I think I showed you everything. Yeah, check out that Sparkle Dust glitter if you feel like getting sparkly, and I hope you guys have a really great weekend and a really nice couple weeks, and then I will be back in a couple weeks, and you will for sure be entertained by Rosie, so be sure to set your calendars and check in and share what you're crafting in the Scrap Shotz paper crafting group. Thank you, Sandy, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks, Betty.